Retailers Association, the pulse and voice of Philippine retail, recognized as a national organization of retailers and suppliers in the country. The PRA membership represents nearly 80% of the retail industry, which counts all major players like SM, Robinsons, Ayala Malls, Rustan's, Araneta Center, Bench, Mercury Drug, Pen Shop, Wilcon Depot, and more. So why join PRA? It is our goal to get your business in the right track, and to make this possible, the PRA offers exclusive privileges that will surely add value to your membership. PRA members in good standing can enjoy exclusive discounts for their music licensing under PhilSCAP, which is required by the law in compliance with the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. As a pulse and voice of retail, we represent your interests on issues confronting the industry, such as bills on the further liberalization of the retail trade, music copyright issue, contractualization, use of thermal POS printers, price tag law, among others. As a member, you can take advantage of special rates and discounts for various educational programs and projects we regularly conduct to help you advance and develop your skills and competencies and help your business grow. There are seminars, conferences, and expos, high-level and exclusive meetings, which will give you infinite opportunities for the growth and development of your business. As part of our commitment to also help retailers in the regions have access to our educational programs, we conduct regional roadshows all over the country. The PRA also conducts a 2-day career expo, which seeks to generate continuous source of qualified candidates for various levels and positions in the retail business. It is strategically held in malls to help generate increased foot traffic and correspondingly help increase sales for the retailers. PRA members enjoy exclusive privileges through the PRA BizCard, a unique program which offers members exclusive discounts, special offers, and other offerings from associate members and other suppliers. At the same time, it also allows a business-to-business transaction between regular and associate members, which is mutually beneficial for both parties, where trust and loyalty can be established. And since we want to add more value to your membership, we are offering the PRA Premier Members Card, a rewards program to serve and incentivize all members who are actively participating in PRA events and programs. We encourage and recognize Filipino retailers who have epitomized the model of success in terms of growth and good ethical best practices through the Outstanding Filipino Retailers and Shopping Center of the Year Awards, or OFRC. To support members in their employee recognition programs, the PRA spearheaded their Retail Employees Day program for the Philippines, which is celebrated every December 12. With the support of all members of the PRA, we recognize and celebrate retail employees for their role in the retail business. You have exclusive access to information and publications for industry development available in the PRA library. Through your membership in the PRA, we can help grow your network and access to local international networks through our affiliations with large influential business organizations locally and globally, like the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, the Federation of Asia-Pacific Retailers Association, the Federation of International Retail Associations, and the National Retail Federation, the world's largest retail organization. Such networks provide unlimited benefits of being connected to the local and global world of business and retail. So, who can be a member? All retailers in all formats, shopping centers, as well as suppliers of products and services to the retail industry are encouraged to join and be a part of the PRA community. How to become a PRA member? We have 3 types of membership to cater to your needs. There's a regular membership for those who are directly involved in the retail business. Associate membership for corporations or entities engaged in the business of supplying products or services to retailers. And chapter members who are any organized group of retailers doing business in the Philippines. Being a member of the PRA will give your company endless possibilities and opportunities to give your company what it needs to grow, expand, prosper, and become globally competitive. Because at PRA, our only business is helping your business grow.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide, the future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin.
Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local.
God, you alone are worthy of honor, glory, and praise. With you, we can overcome every storm, including the global impact COVID-19 is having on our world. We pray to you, God of mercy, for all who are suffering directly and indirectly during this global pandemic. May you sustain, console, and heal them. We pray to you, God of grace, for all good efforts to rescue life and to maintain people's health. May you strengthen, guide, and protect all, especially those who have committed fight against this disease. We pray to you, God of righteousness, for justice to prevail. Give our leaders a profound wisdom as they navigate through this pandemic and economic uncertainty. Calm our fears. Fill us with your hope, joy, and peace as we continue to trust in you. Come, Lord Jesus. Come to our heart and soul. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to our session today. Thank you for tuning in to the 16th episode of the Philippine Retailers Association Virtual Learning Series. I am Amanda Jassmi from Insider. We are the first growth management platform that is backed by AI, and I will be your moderator for today. So it is very apparent that we are in a very uncertain time brought by the pandemic. People experience stress and anxiety. And to help us cope with that, our session for today will actually focus on how we can protect and rewire our brain to help us cope and thrive in the challenging time through the help of neuroscience. But before we do so, before I introduce our esteemed speaker for today, let us first hear a special message from the PRA President and Wilcon Depot Senior Executive Vice President and COO, Ms. Rosemary Ong.
Dear members, I know that each and every one of us have felt the brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic. And while the quarantines have eased down, we still have a lot of questions on what the future holds for our business, health, family, and the economy. This extraordinary turn of events has caused a great deal of challenges, not only health-wise, but in our overall way of living. As your association, you know that the PRA had been invested and active in face-to-face events and interactions with our members. But with the pandemic, we had to be quick and agile in order to respond to the call of this current setting. Our executive secretariat is doing the necessary work to keep you informed and connected during this challenging period to ensure that you have the tools and the data you need to pivot effectively. For one thing, we have set up an information on the latest government issuances related to COVID-19, government incentive and loans available for business, and a directory of the different COVID-19 solutions and products you may need to keep your business and office secure, safe, and ready to serve your customer in-store and online. We also have retail relevant topics for our team and partners to provide a digital gateway of learning and seminars and meet you face to face. I invite you all to subscribe to the PRA YouTube channel where you can access past PRA webinars you may have missed. And while we may still have challenging 2020 ahead of us, we know that by working together and arming ourselves with the correct information, we can tread this new path of strange normal. Please know that we will do what we do best, providing a venue of interaction and connection within our members and the industry through digital platforms and continuing to monitor new rules and regulations in the government and participate in these meetings to serve as your pulse and voice. This crisis brought a lot of pains and worries, but likewise, it made us more agile and resilient, which we need as we move along. We need to be flexible and adaptive to successfully implement new strategies in a rapidly changing marketplace. I am delighted and proud to be part of the PRA, and I wish you all well as we continue to do what we can to support the industry and prepare for the future. Above all, let us help and support one another and believe that this too shall pass. May resiliency and hope, not doubt, go viral.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosemary Ong. At this moment, let me first show our gratitude to our sponsors for helping the PRA put together this episode of the virtual learning series. Thank you to our platform partner, Big Media, to our technology partner, Big Benta, to our media partner, V81 Radio, and our program partner, TalkShop Asia. Also, we would like to remind everyone that if you have any queries or any topic on the topic, you may type in your questions anytime during our speaker's presentation, which we will try to answer during the Q&A portion at the end of our talk. On the other hand, we would also like to inform everyone that the PRA will not be sharing the presentation deck as per request of our speaker, so we ask your full attention during the entire session. Now, I am honored to introduce to you our speaker this afternoon. He is an international speaker and a US certified neuroscience coach. He is a US certified neuro-linguistic programming master trainer. And as a managing director of Ampil Management Consultancy, he has extensive corporate career in the different functional disciplines of general management in industries such as manufacturing, sales and marketing, hospitality, property management, and management consultancy. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Ampil.
Good afternoon, Amanda. Good afternoon, Amanda. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Good afternoon,
Ben.
Amanda. How are you?
I am doing great. Can you see me now?
Amanda.
Hi,
Good
Ben. Can
afternoon,
you see
Amanda.
me? Oh, I don't think he can see me. He can hear me.
Amanda.
Hello. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. We are very excited to hear your presentation. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to everybody. It's actually a cloudy day where I am broadcasting from in Makati, but every time PRA has an event, it becomes sunny and bright. The neuroscience of effective leadership and emotional mastery. According to Batman, old ways don't open new doors. What does 11 September 2001 remind you of? Well, if you remember this 9/11, you remember that it was the day that Osama bin Laden sent two planes to bomb the two towers in World Trade Center in New York. That was 9/11. What about 2nd of May 2011, a decade after? That was the day that President Obama successfully assassinated through the Delta 6 team, SEAL team, Osama bin Laden. It was made into well moved into Zero Dark 30, and this is actually the scene during the Situation Room. The assassination of Osama bin Laden happened in the dawn of May 2, so everybody was tense. You can see President Obama on the left side, now presidential candidate Joe Biden on the extreme left, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on the right. But did you know that after a decade, there's a secret that's leaking out of Washington? President Obama apparently had help, and this came from the Avengers no less. This is the official photo that the White House released. This is the official photo that actually transpired. Joke. Top causes of suicide, economic despair, and social disconnection. These are the top two causes of suicide, and never in the history of mankind has that these two elements been around. If we look at history, we go back to 9/11, the situation we just discussed, and then the 1998 Asian financial crisis, and then the 2008 global financial crisis. Throughout all of these global events in the past century, none of them had both the situations of economic despair and social disconnection occurring simultaneously and in such a global scale. That's why our minds are right now filled with COVID. I was guested on ANC to discuss mental wellness and also on TV Control to discuss COVID caution fatigue because apparently people are now getting tired of practicing COVID health protocols because of caution fatigue. Now, 12 June 2020, the Social Weather Station conducted a poll, nationwide poll no less, and they found out that 55% of the entire workforce in the Philippines has experienced great stress over COVID. The mathematics of 55% is easy to figure out. If you're talking to somebody, it's just the two of you, 55%. If the other person looks okay, then it's you. Now, a month after, July 26th, the Social Weather Station did another nationwide survey, and whoa, 84% now registered intense stress over COVID. 1 month in between, 55% to 84%, over 30% gain in everybody being stressed and anxious over COVID. Everybody's anxious because the world is changing because of COVID. Everything we knew when we were making our forecast back in 2019, everything's now downhill. And life as we know it is now nowhere. We can't even go swimming anymore. And scientists said that the COVID virus began with bats transmitting in Wuhan. So let's go back to the source, to Batman no less. If the White House can use Avengers, so can we. Now, Batman is rather stressed because Gotham City, the city that he lives in, is also COVID ridden. He already has a problem wearing this costume. He also now has to wear a mask. Everybody he knows is worried. Now, well-being, if you're enjoying well-being, you will do well. And if you do well, you'll feel well. Well-being leads to well-doing, which in turn leads back to well-being. But what happens if you're anxious and stressed? Well-being suffers, and what happens then? Well-doing suffers as well. Now read this. Notice public bar. Our public bar is currently not open because it is closed, and that's written by the manager. Second, no trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. If you're not doing well-being, your well-doing will suffer. Lastly, this is happening right now even as we speak along EDSA. No face, no ride. Golly, stress and anxiety is taking its toll on the Philippine population. If well-being leads to well-doing, if well-being suffers as well. So if we want our performance to improve, we have to get back to the basics. Let's get our well-being back. Now, COVID is something we fear. There's no vaccine in sight, perhaps for the next 2, 3 years. But we send our deepest gratitude to a certain group, the frontliners. They were even named by Time Magazine as the Person of the Year. They have dedicated their lives, and they have tirelessly and thanklessly put their lives on the line for us to keep the Philippine society in check. But did you know that our body also has frontliners, and that task is assigned to Batman? Old ways don't open new doors. We have unprecedented challenges. We have to rely on Avengers. We have to rely on the Batman team. Our brain determines who we are. It determines how we think. It determines how we behave. Yet sadly, most people know more about how their phones work than how their brains work. Isn't that ironic? And in the past 5 years, because of technology, we have learned more about the brain than we have had in the entire history of mankind. So we're now enjoying unprecedented knowledge about how our brain works, how it operates. Now, neuroscience. I am not a doctor. I actually graduated from engineering. Go figure. But you will remember neuroscience simply by remembering Batman again. Because neuroscience, and this is a very clinical definition, is simply the study of the bee brain, how it reacts, and how it thinks so that you can manage your actions and thoughts. So neuroscience can be defined by Batman again. Neuroscience is the study of the bee brain, how it acts, how it thinks, so that you can manage your actions and thoughts. Now, webinars are the way to go. That's why we're doing this now. Ordinarily, PRA hosts a lot of top-notch, top caliber seminars and events face-to-face, but mass gatherings are prohibited. So everyone's going virtual with webinars. But are we using webinars in accordance to how the brain works? And the answer is no. Do you know why? The average brain weighs 2%. So if you weigh 100 pounds, your brain would only weigh 2 pounds. That is a very inordinate disproportionality in weight, considering the brain determines who you are. Yet that 2% part of your brain, or part of your body, consumes 20% of the entire caloric intake you have. So if you begin your days with coffee, you'll be running your entire morning on 20% of coffee. So have a healthy breakfast, everybody, because if you don't feed your brain, it will consume a lot of energy and it cannot function well. It's like pouring water into a bucket with a lot of holes. The information will just leak through, so it will be a waste of time and resources. Our webinar, which will run for only 30 minutes, has 311 slides. Now, if you attend a professional training on how to be a public speaker, they will tell you that for a 1 hour talk, only have 10 slides, limited to 10 slides. The first slide will be a welcome slide. The last slide will be a thank you slide. So you only have 8 slides to work with in our 30-minute webinar, which will change your life, I guarantee you. Batman is involved. We are working with 311 slides. Also, one key to learning is that you must use humor and absurdity. This is as humorous and absurd as you can get. Chunking is also another way that the brain learns. Have you noticed that when you work with numbers, like perhaps your mobile number or your credit card number, your mind tends to group them into groups of 3 or 4 digits. it will be difficult to handle all the entire 16 digits all at once. Similarly, chunking can be used by the brain whenever you employ acronyms. So just three things, 311 slides down to three things. Three acronyms. Just remember Batman, drip, and scarf. Will you already remember Batman being the definition of neuroscience? Trip will be how our brain is programmed, and scarf will refer to the behaviors that will trigger your brain to take the fear response. Just remember Batman planning to go on a trip, but when he reaches the airport, he's told that he doesn't have to wear a mask, he has to wear a scarf. That's how you remember distinct objects. How does the brain work? We will discuss two parts of the brain, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. Don't you know yet? I assure you will get this. We'll simplify things. The amygdala, we'll call him MIGS. The prefrontal cortex, we'll call him TEX. So we will only be discussing MIGS and TEX. Simple. Now, remember pork and beans? That's how MIGS looks like. MIGS is in the shape of the beans in the pork and beans, and they come in pairs. They're actually between your ears. And TEX, remember chicharon bulaklak? That's how most of the brain is remembered. The entire part of the brain covering your skull is actually chicharon bulaklak in shape. We are only looking at the frontal cortex, the part behind your forehead. The cortex has different functions. The prefrontal cortex is what we're interested to discuss today. Also, MIGS has a 10-second head start over TEX. I say again, MIGS has a 10-second head start over TEX. This is very important in dealing with stress and anxiety. If we understand this concept of this head start, we will now be able to have emotional mastery over our emotions. MIGS is reactive. TEX, on the other hand, is reflective. MIGS is emotional. TEX, on the other hand, is analytical. And MIGS is programmed to look for threats, whereby TEX is programmed to look for patterns. Let's think of TEX for the meantime. TEX looks for patterns. Now, whenever you look for patterns, you have to be deliberate, willful, and purposeful. You just cannot whimsically look for patterns. You have to know what you're looking for. If you want to know how a giraffe looks like, you're going to have to look for patterns of stripes. Now, whenever you do an online search, say via Google, who types the search words? You do. So if you put the pattern of typing problems in my life, guess what results Google will feed you? Problems in your life. If you change it to things I can be thankful for, the answers will change. So it depends on what patterns you're looking for. Your focus determines your attention. The wall that you're looking at can be black or red or even blue. You can color your memories any which way you want to, because the way you code your memories determine how it influences you. So you may have a very traumatic memory, but if you code it properly, in accordance with neuroscience principles, you can negate the negative impact of that otherwise traumatic memory on you. And you don't have to carry the world all by yourself on your shoulder. You can carry it with one hand. Now, which side of the bus are you sitting on? Is it the side where it's dreary, on the other side, which has mountains, the scenic view? It depends on where you want to sit. You are the one in charge of looking for patterns. It does not happen by accident. So remember, you are in charge of text, and text looks for patterns. Now let's go to MIGS. MIGS, on the other hand, looks for threats. Threats are rather instinctive for MIGS. He's on lookout for threats 24 by 7. Like we mentioned, MIGS has a 10-second head start over text. That's why when anytime a threat comes in, MIGS will kick in, and he will be instinctive, he will be emotional, he will not analyze it, he will just kick in, because the programming of MIGS is to keep us alive. Our brain is not programmed to keep us happy. Our brain is programmed to keep us alive. Sorry, I just got carried away. MIGS is programmed to keep us staying alive. And as such, MIG is always on the lookout for threats, 24 by 7. whether the threat is real or imagined. That distinction is very important to know. MIGS does not care if the threat is real. Back in the caveman days, for example, the threats were real. Tigers, dinosaurs, knocking out for food, the fire dying out, having no water. Nowadays, the threats are rather imagined. Poor Wi-Fi connection, what to watch on Netflix. Not a matter of life and death, but Mix doesn't care. He's always on the lookout for threats, whether real or imagined, because Mix wants you to stay alive. So Mix is like somebody manning a radar station, and every he's on the lookout for threats. And the number one threat is identifying right now is the COVID virus. But of course, there are also other threats. What to buy, because now we're locked in quarantine, how to keep ourselves safe, whether to practice safety protocols. A lot of threats are out there. So MIGS is always on the lookout for threats, whether real or imagined. And if MIGS identifies a threat, again, whether real or imagined, he puts up three Fs. He either freezes, or he leaves flight, or fight. The three F known as the freeze, flight, or fight. He only has three Fs to deal with. So if you're talking with somebody whose mix is activated, you're only looking at the guy freezing, the guy leaving, or the guy fighting with you. Not a very pleasant conversation to have. So whenever MIGS determines that the threat is there, whether real or imagined, it triggers the fear response, which comprises of the three Fs, freeze, flight, or fight. And when that happens, it shuts down text. Your ability to reason simply stops. Your rational brain shuts down, and your ability to detect patterns shuts down. So the amygdala MIGS and text. Every time MIGS determines there's a threat, because MIGS is programmed to keep you alive, he will put up the fear response, and this will shut down text. So imagine, we are now living on the 90th day plus of quarantine. MIGS has always been looking out for threats. Every time you turn on the news, it's always COVID. Every time you turn up social media, it's always COVID. MIGS is on working overtime, telling us there's a lot of threats. Our dashboard is just lighting up all over the place. So let's now look about brain programming. Again, another acronym, chunking. Our first acronym was Batman, remember? Neuroscience is the study of the B brain, how it acts, and how it thinks, so that you can manage your actions and thoughts. The second acronym for chunking purposes that we will know is neuroscience. Our brain is programmed, just remember, TRIP. MIGS is programmed to look for T threats, whether R real or I imagine, whereas X is programmed to look for patterns. There you go. Every time you want to remember how your brain is programmed, just remember TRIP. MIGS is programmed to look for T threats, whether R real or I imagine, whereas Text is on the lookout for patterns. Batman and us, we feel something first through MIGS before we can think about that thing through text. Again, we feel something first before we can ever think about it. And right now, you've heard about EQ and IQ. That was discovered over a decade ago. But it's only now because of neuroscience and technology that we're able to understand it. EQ is there because MIGS is on the lookout for threats. And MIGS has a 10-second lead time over text. So EQ was long observed because of behavioral distinctions. Now, because of neuroscience, we're able to understand it. Indeed, EQ leverages our knowledge of MIGS and text. Text is purely IQ, which is intellectual intelligence, memory work, knowing the capital of Scandinavia, for example. EQ is dealing with people, which is more important because you want to neutralize MIGS. Because if MIGS puts up the fear response, you will be dealing with people reacting only in three ways. They either freeze, flight, or fight. Not a very good interaction. And our brain is like Velcro. A Velcro, the one that normally sticks easily, it's a Velcro for negativity. Our brain attracts negative thoughts because MIGS is programmed to look out for threats. And when it notices and catches negative thoughts, it sticks with us. Also, our brain is like Teflon, the one that keeps your what you're cooking on your pan stick free. It's like Teflon. It just reflects and deflects anything positive. So whereas our brain is like Velcro for negative thoughts, it is like Teflon for positive thoughts. So this is what we have. All our negative experiences, we are aware of them, we're in the lookout for them, and when we find them, it sticks with us. Whereas all our positive experiences are like Teflon, they just don't stick. And our brain also has a negativity bias. The conscious mind encounters and is inundated with 40 million bits of information per second, but it can only handle 40 bits of information per second. So there's a huge surplus. So it does what it does is the conscious brain dumps the 40 million plus to its subconscious. And in order to be able to relate with life because of the uh, overflow of data, it takes shortcuts. These are called biases. Biases are simply mental shortcuts. And one shortcut it normally takes is the negativity bias. Have you ever noticed if you do 9 good things and you do just one bad thing, even by mistake, people will only remember that one bad thing, and you also remember the same thing. If you are about to sleep at night, you've had a lot of experiences during the day, some good, some bad. Now, what do you find yourself mulling over before you sleep? The bad ones. And you're not weird. It's just the way Miggs is programmed. Miggs, because he's programmed to look for threats, because he's programmed to look for, to keep us alive. He is like a Velcro for negativity. And because of that, our brain has now kept up a lot of negativity in the form of COVID threats, social threats, economic threats. Social disconnection and economic despair are the top two causes of suicide. So we have been inundated for the past 30 days plus, now going on 90 days. Our brain takes 66 days to form neural connections, or our brain cells just connect. It's like magnetizing a paperclip. You take a magnet and you keep on striking it over a paperclip, and the paperclip soon takes over the magnetism. Similarly, if you act and think consistently for 66 days, your brain becomes magnified to those thoughts. And do you wonder what thoughts you've been keeping for the past 66 days? Negativity, anxiety, and stress. This is pre-COVID, after COVID, pre-COVID, after COVID, pre-COVID, after COVID. We want to be able to smile again. Don't you? I'm tired of frowning all the time. There's a solution. Again, we go back to our adventure friends, to Batman. Remember, we said that neuroscience is the study of the big brain, how it acts, how it thinks, so that you can manage your thoughts and actions. Now let's use it so we can manage ourselves and others. And how do we manage fears? We now go to our third acronym for chunking purposes, SCARF. Naajit si Mix, or Mix gets agitated because he's looking out for threats, because that's his programming. And threats are everywhere because of COVID. Now, SCARF represents the 5 behavioral triggers that if you do this to somebody, or if somebody takes this away from you, your MIGs will get agitated. And we don't want MIGs agitated because in doing so, it triggers the fear response. And he only has 3 options: freeze, flight, or fight. Not many options to consider, and those options are all bad. So remember, SCARF represents the 5 behavioral triggers that if you take this away from others, or if these are taken away from you, your MIGs, your amygdala, will get threatened and agitated, and it will trigger the fear response. The first is status. This refers to dignity and stature. You don't want people stepping on you. But because of what's happening to our economy, a lot of people have lost their jobs, or a lot of people have been forced to take salary cuts, and this has grossly affected their status, sadly, because our work doesn't define us, but that's just us. Other people feel stressed because of that. C is for certainty. It's we want things to be predictable about the future. We want to know that the sun will rise tomorrow. Now, before COVID, in management, this is called locus of control. You have an area that you can control, an area that you cannot control, and a gray area. Like the weather, you can't control that. after COVID, 99% of everything you cannot control anymore. So we become agitated because certainty is taken away from us. Third is autonomy. Autonomy is simply the ability to make choices. You want to go to the grocery and be able to make choices. Your brain is programmed for that. But if that option is taken away from you, your mix is agitated. And the fourth is relatedness. It's a feeling of belonging and acceptance. But because of social distancing, all of our connections have been destroyed. I haven't seen my mother in 4 months. I only talk to her over Zoom or Viber. We don't want to be all by a lonesome, but because of COVID, social distancing, quarantine, we haven't seen many of our friends. And last is fairness. This refers to simply being treated justly. We want the way that others are treated to be the same way that we are treated. So again, SCARF represents the five behavioral triggers that if these are taken away from you, your amygdala or MIGs will get agitated. For example, if I threaten your status, let's say you're driving along EDSA and somebody cuts in your lane, wouldn't you get angry and think, why? He didn't even hit you, but you think that your status was diminished. How dare you cut into your lane? Or certainty, if we now don't know where our future income might come from, our amygdala looking out for threats will be fearful. Autonomy, we don't have any more control because now the government is only saying 50% can work. Relatedness, we haven't seen our friends. Fairness, we haven't been treated fairly because COVID, we are now the hotspot in Asia. So now let's go for applications. Back again to Batman. Batman and Scarf. Now we have two applications of this webinar. Just remember Batman, Trip, and Scarf. Do you want to know how to be an effective leader? Now there are a lot of leadership books online, Amazon, or even in the physical bookstore, say National Bookstore. John Maxwell wrote a book before. I have it. I love John Maxwell. 21 Principles of Servant Leadership. It's not based on science. Another guy, Steve Covey, wrote Highly Effective Habits of Highly Effective People. I love Steve Covey, but again, these are not based on science. Do you want to be an effective leader? Simply think of Super Scarf. If you want to be an effective leader, simply make sure that you nurture the scarf of your team. Make sure that you do not diminish your team's status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. Because if you do so, this will trigger their amygdala. And if their amygdala is agitated, they will respond with freeze, flight, or fight, the fear response. And this will shut down their prefrontal cortex or their ability to reason. So if you're leading a team that has no ability to reason and they're all fearful, there's no way you can lead them well. Intelligence is not the key to leadership. Guys, figure this out. All of the best minds, when they made plans for 2019 moving on to 2020, never foresaw COVID. Yet Bill Gates spoke about it in TED Talks back in 2005. So it's not as if we are supposed to be caught by surprise. The second most richest man in the planet spoke about it in 2005. Yet no one paid attention. If you are intelligent but you don't have EQ and you simply diminish the scarf of your team will be responding in fear. And any team that operates on fear is not a team that will operate optimally. You want a team that is relating with you out of trust, out of empathy. And if you want that to happen, nurture their scarf. Just make sure that you apply this template. Are you exercising leadership according to status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, or fairness? If yes, then you're good. If no, then repair it. Then the next application is if you want to have emotional mastery. Even Homer Simpson's freaking out because of COVID. If you want to have emotionally, we have one solution. Scarf again. The solution for having anxiety or mastering your emotions simply figuring out, can you legitimately feel that emotion? Check it against, is this emotion that I'm feeling now a diminution of my status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, or fairness? I do coaching mostly in the morning. Now it's online. Before I used to do it face to face. And I have a lot of people, executives and that who have lost their jobs, have been forced to take salary cuts. So they feel bad, but they can get a handle on it. So they come to me and I ask them, this bad feeling that you have, is it because your status is diminished? And normally it is. They're not worried about certainty. They can live on interest. They don't have to work a single day of their life. But because their status was diminished, their amygdala is agitated and they put up the fear response. And if you do that, if you have super scarp in leadership, and if you super scarp in using emotional mastery, you will have a team that thinks with you. You would be like-minded, and the fear that you used to have will disappear. And you can now relax. Even an elephant can do it. Yes, you can. You can relax. Gosh, we will stay alive and yet we will have our prefrontal cortex intact. Guys, finally, what is the difference between an excellent game and game excellence? An excellent game makes you win the game. Game excellence, on the other hand, makes you win the championship. If you have leadership and emotional mastery according to neuroscience, you will have life excellence. Each day of your life will be great because you're now in control of how you deal with people, how you interact with yourself, and how you deal with your emotions. You will now be the master of your emotions rather than have your emotions master you. Excellence is just ahead. Now, who will win? Gosh, what kind of a webinar is this? Of course, the rabbit will win. But the turtle studied neuroscience. So he knows where to get resources when he needs one. And he beat the rabbit handily. So can you. Do you know the rocket that will propel you? Your brain. Just simply use your brain and use it in accordance with how it is programmed. Yes, you can. Just use your brain. And you don't have to take pills in order to feel good feelings like self-esteem, happiness, confidence, and peace of mind. You simply have to have make sure that your prefrontal cortex or text is in command and put them in your head. Remember, text is looking for patterns, so look for patterns that are good for you. Now remember, just three things, 311 slides. They go quickly. Just remember three things: Batman. Neuroscience is the study of Batman, the study of the bee brain, how it acts, how it thinks, so that you can manage your actions and thoughts. The brain programming, the amygdala or MIGS is programmed to look for this is now T threats, whether are real or I imagine, and text is programmed to look for P patterns, and SCARF represents the five behavioral triggers that makes agitated. SCARF represents status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And you can get in touch with me by just shooting me an email at ben@benampil.com. We are now at the starting gate. Work hard, dream big. Success is within your reach, and anything that used to hinder you because you were stressed and anxious because of COVID, forget it. You can break through it. Old ways don't open new doors. Because of technology, we have learned more about the brain in the last 5 years than we have learned about in the entire history of mankind. So let's use those new ways. Amanda, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. It was very insightful. There are lots of things that I've learned, new things. For me, my key takeaway here is it's kind of aligned with the biblical truth wherein you hold every thought captive, right?
Yes, exactly. Remember, we're also encouraged biblically that whatever is true, whatever is pure, whatever is noble, think about these things.
Correct. That is right. Thank you so much, Ben. So, this part would be the more exciting part because we are already opening up the floor for Q&A from our audiences. So you guys can actually type in questions and submit your questions that you want to ask to Ben. Okay. I think we do have some questions coming in, Ben. Number one is, do you have suggestion for mental exercises for people who are experiencing anxiety during this pandemic?
The best way, we'll go back again to TRIP. Remember, TRIP
Mhm.
represents the way our brain is programmed. Amygdala or MIGS has a 10-second lead time over our prefrontal cortex or TEX. That's actually designed by our Lord to keep us alive. Back in the caveman days, all the threats were real. Right now, I'm just concerned about what to watch later on Netflix. That is a matter of life and death between my wife and I. We have to do Jack and Poy or rock, paper, and scissors, life and death. So because we are programmed to stay alive, Migs takes precedence. He's always on the lookout for threats 24 by 7. So in order to just make sure that the 10-second lead time allows text to come in, just hold your breath. Take a deep breath. Hold it for 10 seconds. If you cannot hold it for 5 and breathe again, then hold it for 10 seconds. Do you notice your physical manifestations when you're stressed? Your heart beats faster because your heart, wanting to keep you alive, is pumping a lot of blood. You also beat faster because your brain needs oxygen, and you notice that your muscles get tight. All of these are programmed by the Lord to keep us alive. They're good programs, but imagine cleansing your fist for 10
Mhm.
seconds. Kaya, cleanse it for 1 hour. It's
Exactly.
like your blood pumping a lot of blood, your lungs breathing deeply, and your muscles being taut. It will just mangangalay ka. So what you do, you want to let text get together with mix. So deep, I can hold my, and also I want to assure everybody, I'm a scuba diver. Do you know that nobody can die by holding their breath? There's something in our ears that keep us, we just can't do it. You will just have to breathe. So if you follow what I'm saying, you won't die. I won't get sued. So hold your breath for 10 seconds. That allows mix and text to come together, and then you can now put the SCAR formula. What I'm
Mhm.
feeling now is it something that I should be anxious about. Back to you, Amanda.
Got it. Thank you so much for that, Ben. So the next question is, can neuroscience also help change culture in a company, such as from a backward way of leading things to more adaptive and agile leadership?
Amanda, I have to apologize. The amygdala, my puppy is kicking up.
No worries.
Uh,
He
um,
wants to join. He wants to join the conversation. No
he has
problem.
this, he always contradicts me. His name is
Perfect.
Pompons. There. Can you repeat the question again? My apologies.
No problem, Ben. So, the question is, can neuroscience also help change in culture in a company, such as from a backward way of leading things to a more adaptive and agile leadership?
yes, it can. Everything we do, whether leadership or non-leadership, they're all course to our brains. Yet,
Yeah.
as we said in the onset, most of us know more about how our phones work than how our brains work. So,
Correct.
if we understand how our brain is programmed, then we will know agility and mindsets are just a function of how our brain operates. For example, mindset is actually a function of time.
Mhm.
Whenever somebody tells me that I will develop an agility mindset by giving them a seminar, 2 days they're gonna have it, cannot be, because our brain. I'll go technical for a second, but you can Google it and you can check me on this. Our brains compose of special cells. They're called neurons. They're
Mhm.
different from the cells that comprise our body. The cells that comprise our body as a nucleus, a cell membrane. They're connected together. The brain cells, the neurons, are not connected together. They're floating, and there are
Mhm.
80 billion of them. They communicate through electricity and through chemicals. Whenever we're conscious, our brain produces 23 watts of electricity. It's enough to light a light bulb.
Wow.
So we are running on electricity and chemicals. And it takes, since they're not connected together, in order to cement behavior, you have to act and think that way for 66 days, not 21 days. We were told before it takes 21 days
Correct.
to form a
To
habit,
build a habit, yeah.
not not takes 21 days to make that author rich is what happens, not based on science. So our neurons will form connections so that, for example, you want to have muscle memory. There's this example regarding monkeys. Guys, don't try this at home. They tied, I don't know how many fingers a monkey has. They tied assuming five, they tied the four fingers of the monkey and the thumb was free. And they kept it that way. Then they removed the binding on the other fingers. And the monkey never changed. It didn't spread it. It was behaving that way. If you act and think consistently for 66 days, that becomes a mindset. So a mindset then is the leader sharing a vision, being an exemplar, an example of that vision, being consistent with it, making sure that he nurtures the scarf of his team for 66 days. And then that will now become a permanent neural connection or brain connection. Back to you, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben. Okay, we do have a question coming from Facebook. It's from Benvenido Pasis. So he's asking, are you saying that we should be like Spock of Star Trek, where we should be logical and not emotional?
I was hoping you would invoke Avengers, but since you're, I do know Spock. What I'm saying though is that we want to be in control of ourselves. We want to be in control of ourselves by making sure that our prefrontal cortex is the one in control. MIGS is always on the lookout. It gets ahead of ourselves because it has a 10-second lead time over text. If we don't let text come in to weigh the situation, we would always be judging every situation as bad. That's why you and I, everybody has a negativity bias. You do 9 good things and you do one silly thing, you remember and everybody remembers the silly thing. So what I'm saying to the questionnaire is Spock needs emotions. That's why, did you notice he never had a girlfriend in that series? That's because he has no emotions. We just want you to be emotional in the right way. If you're not emotional, you will not be a good leader also. Pom Pom's not to say something, but I'll go back to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Ben. I think those are the questions that we have. Any more questions from the audience? Just feel free to let us know. While we are waiting for that last question. Okay, I think there's a follow-up question from Benvenido. Interesting. Can that 10-second lead time be applicable on spur of the moment decision making?
Yes, that's a very good question, and I'm glad you didn't mention Spock because I only know him for 5 seconds. I teach this in PRA because PRA is marketing, retail. Did you know that 95% of our purchase decisions are subconscious? Because our conscious brain is inundated with 40 million bits, and it can only handle 40 bits. Amanda, I need your favor. Adlib for.
Oh, I think we lost Sir Ben there for a bit. I think Pom Pom and Sir Ben will have a bit of a discussion. Okay, so I think while we are waiting for Sir Ben, we might want to give our thank you to our partners who actually helped us make this webinar possible. So we want to say thank you to our platform partner, Big Media, to our technology partner, Big Benta, to our media partner, V81 Radio, and our program partner, Talk Shop Asia. All right, so
I'm okay now.
You're back, sir.
Right. No, he just. This guy was born to be a star. I'm actually introverted. Seriously, for my friends, I'm normally naturally introverted. This guy's an extrovert. He just wants to be. He heard that the moderator for this webinar is extremely good looking, so he wants to make pakilala. Anyway, go ahead, Amanda. Back to you. Did we answer the follow-up yet?
Actually, we're not yet. Yeah, going back to the question.
All our actions are actually 95% subconscious. Right. Amanda, can I make you a volunteer?
Go, sir.
You could say yes and yes.
I'm a bit scared, but go. Let's do this.
This will not involve the donation of body organs, I assure you. And no animals will be killed in this exercise. Amanda, fold your arms. Fold your arms in front of you.
Fold it?
Yes.
Okay.
Not as in origami, but cross your arms.
Yeah.
Is it right over left or left over right?
Left over right.
Okay, can you now do it right over left?
Okay.
Was that easy or was it a bit uncomfortable?
Yeah, a bit hard. A bit hard for me.
Yeah, but you and I, with our prefrontal cortex taking over, would know that that should be easy. Right over left, left over right. It's
Right.
kids' church can do it. When in your entire history did you decide that if somebody were to ask you in the presence of a barking dog to cross your arms, that it will be left over right? When in your entire lifetime? Could you remember a
Never.
date? Never.
Never.
And this has nothing to do with being left-handed or left-handed. And Amanda, we've never met. I've only had the joy and delight of meeting you now, but I can tell you, you wear your blouse in the same way, you put
Mhm.
on your pants in the same way, and you also wear your shoes the same way. That's just an example of subconscious programming. It becomes muscle memory for us because we don't want, for example, for us to fold our arms. We don't want to trigger up text, prefrontal cortex. Should I do it left over right? Similar
Mhm.
to the monkeys, this becomes muscle memory. So to the questionnaire, even if you come up with a list when you do grocery, the people, the merchandisers in the grocery, you know what they put at the checkout counters, the chewing gums, everything that you will just put in your cart, or your
Yeah.
kid will say, "Mommy, I want that." That's by design. Even groceries, even retailers, the way they place their merchandise is by design. It's meant to capture 95% subconsciousness. So to the question about counting, yes. So what I would recommend, and I would think that the question refers to shopping. We're
Mhm.
PRA. It can't refer to plumbing. So that would be another association. So if it refers to shopping, do the scarf test. Take the example, you're on the checkout counter and you said chewing gum, batteries. I needed those, and they were not on your list. Say, if I don't buy the battery or the chewing gum, will it be a diminution in my status, certainty, autonomy, readiness, fairness? The answer would be no, because Scarf doesn't care about batteries and chewing gum anyway. But that would give you ample time to say, wait a minute, I am just being pushed by emotions,
Right.
by things that are beyond me to do something that I will regret when I'm conscious back home. Back to you, Amanda.
Correct. Thank you so much, sir. I think, okay, we have a question from Peregrine Carlos. So, any tips on how to shake off or manage anxiety, mainly due to negative news around us? Very good question.
Just one, turn off your TV. Serious, guys, seriously, as a neuroscience coach, as a friend of PRA, and as your friend, news, watch it every other day. MWF, if they discover a virus tomorrow, you will find out about it. Your Facebook will ring off the phone. Everybody will, you won't miss anything. Don't watch the news every day,
Mm.
because the news is just, have you ever heard of something good recently? Apart from when they advertise on TV that we're coming on, we were never advertised on TV. So watch the news every other day. Seriously, also, be selfish, practice
Mm.
self-care, and
Correct.
being selfish is not actually a behavioral pattern I want you to take on. It's actually another acronym. S is sleep. Our brain needs sleep. Our brain needs 7 to 9 hours of restful sleep, because that's the time when our brain recharges itself. That's the time when the toxins that we incur during our conscious time gets cleaned up. That's the time when our short-term memory becomes transformed to long-term memory. So Amanda, this if you have a daughter, no?
Right.
Right. When your daughter comes of age, when she takes an interest in guys, and people listen to me, if somebody goes to Amanda's daughter, or if somebody, you're single and a guy tells you, for example, your name is Jane, the guy vibers you, Jane, I can't sleep because of you. I dreamt last night that it's you and I. Tell the guy, I watched PRA's webinar on neuroscience, and number one, your brain needs sleep. So since
Right.
you lack sleep, your dream is flawed, your statements are flawed, stop vibrating me, send me chocolates and flowers by Lalamoo, then call me back again. So S is for sleep, E is for exercise,
Okay.
basic. L is for laugh. because when you laugh, the brain releases good chemicals that make you feel better. F is for food, the good type of food. Omega-3, Mediterranean diet, Japanese diet. I is invest in learning. Stop watching TV. A lot of apps are available. Do Sudoku, crossword puzzles, whatever, physical puzzles. And then S is sunlight. Our brain needs vitamin D from the sun. And because of quarantine, we might have been deprived of the sun. And H is help others. When you help another person, your brain releases dopamine. It's a feel good chemical.
Chemical.
On the point of emotions, and this is for a totally different webinar. Our brains is just a function of the emotional chemicals that are released, but our emotions is just a function of the chemicals that are released by our brain. That's why when you're depressed, one test that they may give you when you visit a medical doctor is to check your chemical imbalance. Most depressions are just chemically based because of our lifestyle, because of our eating habits. They're not because of emotional baggages. So again, be selfish. And I'm not saying don't share. This is an acronym, not a behavioral suggestion. S is for sleep, E is for exercise, L is laugh, F is food, the good type, I is invest in learning, S is sunlight, H is help others.
Great.
Back to you, Sam. Amanda.
Thank you, sir. So I think there you go. From Scott Luella, for some people, the fear is ingrained these past months. They are afraid to go out, experience fear of going out. How can people overcome this?
It's funny because I just did the coaching seriously about last week. I have somebody whom I met a decade ago through the course of my public speaking, and she reached out to me because she contracted COVID. She got well, but because of her fear to contract it again, she wouldn't leave her bedroom. Her husband and her kids are just freaking out already because she wouldn't eat the entire 9 yards. I forgot the name, the questionnaire. Would you have it? Or to the lady who asked the question,
Yeah, I think Luella.
Luella, try this with me. Our memories do not come from what happened. I say that again. Our memories are independent from what happened. If somebody slaps me, that's painful, but I don't have to feel bad about it. No, you're going to say, hey, he slapped you. That's society's saying you should get mad. But I can say, I will not follow society's lead. Our emotions are not based on what happened. We can only do 6 things with our brain, 5 senses, and the sixth is self-talk. The meaning we assign, to our experience. Amanda, assuming you and I are having tea in a Chinese restaurant, and then we have two cups of the teacups that they normally give in Chinese restaurants. One is plain white. The second one is ornately designed with intricate Chinese decorations, and they pour tea. Which cup would have the better tasting tea?
Say that again, sir. Say that again, please.
You and I are having tea in a Chinese restaurant, and then they put typical teacups. One is just porcelain white, just white, plain white. The second one is ornately designed, has a lot of intricate designs on it.
Okay.
And then they pour tea, and then it's in front of us. So which cup would you choose because you think it has the better tasting tea?
I think the one with design.
And you and I know it comes from the same teapot.
Correct.
That just shows that our experience is subjective. So to Luella, this will be rather intricate. Stay with me. And you can touch base with PRA. Better yet, be a member of PRA, then we will help you. If you're feeling emotion X right now, which is not good, what emotion would you rather feel? Amanda, I'll use you as Luella. You read the question. She's feeling anxious. Okay, Amanda, you're feeling anxious. What emotion would you rather feel?
I would rather be relaxed.
Relax.
And be okay, yeah.
Right. So relaxation. So you have emotion X, which is negative, and the desired emotion is relax.
Correct.
Okay. Now the next question is, Amanda, can you think of a time when you were relaxed?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you
Yeah.
to share it. Yes, you
Yeah.
have it. Now calibrate, Luella. Listen, I charge big time for my coaching. This is only complete. Uh, Amanda, that memory that you have, Luella, did you notice I'm not even asking Amanda for details? Calibrate it in terms of your desired emotion of relaxation, 1 to 10. 10 being you're very relaxed, 1 being the emotion you're catching to remember, Amanda. Calibrate it 1 to 10 relaxation.
Mhm.
Give it the number, Amanda.
I'd say it's around like 9.
9. I just need the question. Does it involve a person?
Yes.
Does it
Yes.
involve an object?
No.
Okay. Luella, I didn't ask any detail. No risk of overshare. Okay. Amanda, now work with me. Close your eyes and I will tell you to open it again. Amanda, close your eyes. Go back to that emotion that you first went into. Imagine the person that you chose for that relaxation memory to come closer to you. And all of a sudden, he became as big as a building. And then he grew arms and he put
Mhm.
his arms around you. And he said, Amanda, I will protect you. You can
Mhm.
relax now. Calibrate 1 to 10. You can open your eyes now. You calibrate 1 to 10 relaxation. You can go beyond 10.
Yeah, I think it's around like 20.
Luella, the key is BBC, big, bright, colorful. If you want to accentuate a positive emotion, make it big. That's why I said as big as a building. Big, bright, shine spotlights and colorful, because some memories are black and white. If you want to negate, if you want to mitigate a negative emotion, do reverse. So if you're remembering a problem and you're thinking about it in color, think about it in black and white. Think about it small. Think about it blurred and far away. That's that problem. And guys, listen, this is based on principles. Hold that problem in your hand, crumple it, then just throw it away and see it fly, then calibrate. I'm not kidding you. The human brain cannot distinguish between reality and fiction. It cannot. That's why every morning when I shave, I go, ang guwapo mo naman. The bathroom mirror hasn't broken yet because the bathroom mirror can distinguish as well. So, guys, the human brain cannot distinguish between reality and fiction. Use it to your advantage. Back to you, Amanda.
All right. So, thank you for that. I think we are already on our last question, if I'm correct. So it's from Martin Manese. How do we help our kids lessen their stress in school online learning program? I know if they are too stressed with this new way. I know that they are stressed with the new way of learning. Some parents then get stressed too.
Right. Anything unfamiliar becomes a source of stress.
Mhm.
That's just human reaction as well as remember the amygdala is on the lookout for threats, and you're presenting something that's unfamiliar to them. So it is our natural reaction is to view it as a threat. So that's understandable. Also, the average attention span for kids as opposed to adults are way different. For adult learning, the optimal time is 90 minutes. That's why do not work longer than 90 minutes. Take breaks. And our brain runs on sugar, glucose. So
Mhm.
take breaks. And on the 90th minute, take coffee, sugar. But make sure you're tested for your FBS. I don't want diabetics running around. The kids, do you know their attention span? 5 minutes. And yet
Correct.
the lessons online are taught for 30 minutes. So they have to be spaced. Also, we didn't tackle it in this webinar, but there's a lot of learning principles that online learning does not actually comply with. Amanda, what did I talk about the entire 311 slides? You just have
For,
to remember three things. That's
yeah,
it.
it would. Yeah, the three things that I remember would be Batman, Trip, and Scarf.
Thanks to your notes. Yes, okay, but guys, that's what I'm saying. When you listen to a webinar and it's just pure talk, well, meaning just talk is no visuals. Studies have shown that you will only remember 10% after 72 hours or 3 days. If you use visuals, the retention goes up to 65%. So you have a 55% premium on just doing visuals because your brain can see your words. Our brain can see your words. They put brain scans on conscious people and they gave them a book. And do you know what part of the brain was activated? The visual part. So when you're reading a book, the visual part of your brain is activated. And if I say something abstract like love, for example, your brain will grapple with it. Webinar that's just auditory or pure talk, your brain will grapple with it. Whereas if I show love, if I show Batman, if I show Scar, your brain has an easier time handling it.
Exactly.
So toward that, to the question, this is the next question. To the previous questionnaire, associate online learning with a reward to your child. Do not make it an automatic reward because he will be spoiled, and then he will always say that you will always equate learning with rewards, but associate it with a reward. Make it pleasant. I have a teddy bear behind my laptop webcam. It's because if I don't, I will be looking at the eyes of Amanda and I will be looking down at the screen. So I look at the teddy bear and I'm forced to look at eye level. Also, a teddy bear gives me love chemical. Love chemical is if you have a pet or a teddy bear or if you're holding someone's hand, it makes you feel better, so you don't feel alone. So put teddy bears beside or the toys of your kids beside the laptop wherein the online learning is happening, and it will be a better experience. Back to you, Amanda.
Okay, got it. So I think this would be the last question from Ruby Villavicencio. So most people work from home. How is the status and autonomy affected by this? I ask this because we have different roles traditionally at home than in the office or work. How is productivity affected by these things?
That's a very good question. Nobody prepared for work from home. We were all giddy and excited the first time it was announced. Yay! But do you notice that you are actually working longer hours now that it's WFH? Also, a lot of people need breaks, meaning a break from the house to an office and a break from the office back to the house. Work from home, no break. 24/7, you're in the same place and distractions are always there. Guys, I'm sorry, my dogs are driving me crazy. They're biting my leg. Hindi po sila nakakatawa, masakit po. But what I'm saying is let's work from home. I miss face-to-face mass gatherings. I miss speaking in front of SMX MOA, but no dogs there. But as we're saying, I lost. Sorry, Amanda, what was I talking about? What is
So
the question again?
Yeah, you were discussing how does it affect the autonomy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Work from home is actually, we romanticized it. Guys, we are not working from home. See my body language. We are not working from home. We are at home during a crisis trying to work. Wrap your brains around that. We are at home during a deadly crisis that has claimed over. We had the biggest uptick in COVID yesterday in Metro Manila during a crisis which has no foreseen solution up close, trying to work. So when you look at it that way, you will realize that indeed it is a challenge. Autonomy. A lot of people think they have more autonomy actually because you can exercise your discard and how you want to do your work. So on the autonomy part, I think we have, depending on what type of personality you have, productivity, it depends because some of the tools you need may not be provided because we are not a country that is readily embracing work from our internet sucks. A lot of companies had to buy laptops when the quarantine was announced. Nobody prepared. Even the high-tech companies in the States, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, they're ready, but they never thought 2020 would be the day or the year that they'd be forced to work from home. So they never planned for it. So to the person who gave the question, very good question. If you are in a place for an extended period of time, cabin fever sets in. And I've had that over my coaching clients, cabin fever. And I can't even walk my dog because we have mobility restrictions. So what you can do, watch YouTube, go to National Geographic, watch sceneries. Your brain doesn't distinguish between reality and fiction. Work with your brain. If you want to travel, then go to the videos that shows travel videos and put your mind into it. It is what it is. We're stuck at home. Let's make the most out of it. Back to you, Amanda.
That is right. Thank you so much. That is actually our last question, Sir Ben. Thank you for your time. I know you have very precious time, and we've really learned a lot, I'm sure. I've attended lots of webinars, but I can actually say that this is one of the best that I've attended. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Any parting words before we close our session? Oh, okay. Sir Ben, are you still here?
Yes, I
Closing
am.
words?
All I will say is, do you know that COVID is actually heaven sent? And I mean, it's good. We only appreciate life. We only appreciate things when things are going well. For the first time, we have an event that put the entire planet on its knees. The best economies, the US and China, can't do anything about it. Psalm 20, verse 7. Some people trust in chariots, some people trust in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. In the Old Testament, armies are measured by the number of chariots and horses they have. They cannot fix COVID. So I don't want to be preachy, but number one, we have now learned to appreciate our friends, our family, because we have limited mobility or we're locked in with them. Number two, we now appreciate our work, which we used to say, thank God it's Friday, or no, it's Monday again. Now we say, I wish I have work. We now appreciate our health. We now appreciate the virtue of saving. Guys, this weren't on your to-do list on December 31, 2019. None. All you want to do is enjoy 2020. COVID is good if you see it with your prefrontal cortex. Look for patterns that will say, life is good. I'm still breathing. I had dogs that were ruining, and my apologies to you guys for sticking it up. My apologies to all the organizers. But I keep telling myself, I love these dogs. So
Right.
life goes on, and as long as I get my message across, dogs or no dogs, life moves on. So Psalm 27, do not trust in chariots, do not trust in horses. Trust in the name of the Lord our God. Only He can make everything work well. Be happy with life. Life is actually good. If you don't believe me, consider the alternative. Bad. Semi-joke. So I'd like to thank PRA and everybody. I'd like to thank everybody who sent in the questions. Life is good. God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. I believe in it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Back to you, Amanda.
Amen. Thank you, Sir Ben. So, yeah, for everyone, thank you again for joining us. But please help us improve our learning session by answering our feedback form, which you will receive through the registered email address that you guys already put. And then, once again, we would like to extend our gratitude to our partners who help us make this possible. Platform partner Big Media, technology partner Big Benta, our media partner V81 Radio, and our program partner, Talk Shop Asia. Thank you, everyone. And this actually concludes our webinar for this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for joining. See you again in PRA's future virtual learning session. I am Amanda from Insider. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all.
Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide, the future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Ito ang radio ko, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan.